Good evening. Welcome to another episode of What Nobody Told Me After 65. I recently told you that there are about 750 million seniors worldwide, and roughly 56 million live in the United States. We're estimated to spend $15 trillion, and we find that more than 17 million seniors who are age 65 or older are economically insecure. That means they're struggling to make ends meet. There is a federal poverty level, believe it or not. And in most cases, you have to fall below the federal poverty level in order to receive any benefits. What is the number for the federal poverty level? $27,180, just under $30,000 a year for a single person, and that was calculated in 2022. However, we find that most senior citizens are about that amount in debt. According to the National Center on Aging, 61% of senior citizens are carrying debt of at least $30,000. 61%. As for income, Social Security is the main source of income for over 68% of senior citizens. They don't have any other money besides Social Security coming in. So we're looking at these statistics and we find that these folks are living below the federal poverty level and they should be eligible for some type of assistance, right? Well, according to the National Center on Aging, only 48%, less than half, of seniors who are 60 or older who might be eligible for food stamps are getting them. So what about the other 52%? What are they getting and why aren't they getting anything? I decided to take a look at what the criteria is to receive food stamps. Okay? Now remember, the federal poverty level is $27,180 a year. You have to be at or below this to qualify. That's for one person. If you have income, if you're working still, okay, your one person income cannot exceed $1,580 before taxes, that's gross, or $1,215 net after tax. So you have to be elderly, that's at least 60 years old, I qualify, or disabled, receiving SSI. You can't get more in SSI than the amount that they've listed here, $1,580 or $1,215, and that's a month. Now, if you pass those two criteria and you fill out your application, they have 30 days to get back to you. And within those 30 days, you'll get a notice about whether or not you're moving forward. Now, during the 30 days, they're going to take note of everything that you've listed in your application, whether you have a car, you own insurance policies, you have burial plots, you have stocks or bonds. Any of those kinds of things are considered assets, and they have to count them in the calculation to determine if you are eligible for benefits. Now, you can only have for housing, for instance, your housing cannot be counted as a resource above $2,750. That's if you're in a house or a lot. Okay? They also count vehicles as a resource. The time that they don't count it is if you're living in your vehicle as a house. Doesn't make sense to me because they only count 2750 for housing allowance. So you have to be in a really old car, something that really wasn't worth much of anything. And then how would you be living in it? It goes round and round and round because really these criteria are not put in place to include, they're put in place to exclude. That way they can check off the boxes, get rid of, you know, maybe 80 out of 100 applicants, and then they only have to deal with those 20. It's a sad, sad thing to have worked all your life, taking care of your family, and you're hungry, or you're living in substandard housing. We live in a rich economy. We've got folks who are making more money than 5 presidents. And yet, we have this disparity in income and this disparity in taking care of our seniors at a level at which allows them to live a comfortable life. I want to tell you, I had an uncle who was on SSI. He applied for benefits, food stamps, and after they did the calculations for the things he had, his car and his burial plot and his little life insurance, you know, the guy that comes and picks up your money every month. Go get the book for the insurance man. They came out that he would receive $10 a month in food stamps. Ridiculous. Yeah, and you know, those of you who knew my uncle, he told him he could keep it. It was an insult. And then years later, I think it went up to like $15 or $20. And he said, well, I'll get it and I'll buy bread or milk. He ended up having to take them because his income continued to shrink, but the expenses continued to grow. And of course, we know that medical is, you know, a major part of a senior's quality of life down the road. When you're looking at television, take note of how many of the commercials are about these medicines. I'm starting to be able to name them, and I don't even take that kind of medicine, metformin and Truvelo and Resputi and all these different names. They are just inundating us with and indoctrinating us with these infomercials for medication to live longer, but not better. I submit that there is something that we can do. We can do better for the seniors in this country. Let us not forget about their sacrifices and the things that they've done that benefits us all. If you agree, please leave your comments. As usual, I ask that you subscribe and share because you don't know what you don't know. Thanks for listening. Good night.